Most men are constantly chasing opportunities, but they aren't finding ways to increase their value. So we chase the money, we chase the, girl, we chase whatever opportunity is, but we don't work on increasing our value. How it should be is you focus on yourself, right? And then simultaneously, opportunities come to you. Welcome to High Value Man University. I'm your educator of the evening, Adam P. Larkins. Please say the P. Call me Adam P for short. But listen, so the purpose and topic of today's lesson is this. Let's write it on the board. The theory of the high value man. All right? That's today's lesson. This is today's topic. Now, listen, I'm very intentional with the words that I say. All right. So the whole purpose of this university of HVMU is to prove one thing. It's to prove that if your value increases as a man, so does your opportunities. So the more valuable you become in the marketplace, the better opportunities you have at your disposal. All right. So understand one thing. Most men do this. Most men are constantly chasing opportunities, but they aren't finding ways to increase their value. That's the biggest thing, right? So we chase the money, we chase the, girl, we chase whatever opportunity is, but we don't work on increasing our value. It's backwards. How it should be is you focus on yourself, right? And then simultaneously, opportunities come to you. But again, I'm very intentional with words. And I use the word theory for a reason. All right. I use the word theory because, listen, it's not proven yet. That's what a theory is. So if you pay attention in science class, let's break it down. There's a difference in a theory versus a law. All right. Do we know what the difference is? In the comments, do you know the difference between theory and law? Let's talk about it. Let's break it down. So we have a theory on this side. All right. Versus a law. Let's break it down the middle. What's a law? A law is something that's universal, that's guaranteed to happen. A law is this. If X occurs, it leads to Y. 100% of the time. That's a law, right? Let's think about if you jump off a 50-story building, what's going to happen? You are going to plummet to the bottom. All right? That's a law. You know what that law is called? That law is called gravity. No matter how many times you jump off the building, you're going to fall every single time. So that is the definition of a law. Now, when a theory, in sense, is we're still observing the patterns to make sure that it could become a law eventually. But we don't know. We have to do several observations to see that, hey, listen, if this thing happens, if this, then this, right? And so here's the thing. I look across other successful people and I see that, they do this well, they do that well, they're good at this and good at this, and they're successful. So I say, you know what? Let me do that for my life and see if it works. I tried some of those things and I saw that it worked for me, but that still doesn't make it a law. We got to prove this. So over the next few months, that's the experiment. The theory of the high value man, we want to experiment and see if a man increases his value intrinsically and extrinsically. What's the word? Extrinsic, intrinsic, extrinsic. That's it. Internal, external. Let's say that. Internal and external. If a man increases value internally and externally, he will attract better opportunities. He will attract more quality opportunities, quality and quantity, because his value increases. So let's break it down a little bit deeper. Any questions so far? Have any questions? Put them in the comments. As I wipe. All right, so I want to break it down a little further because some people are visual learners. Like I need to see it. We need to see it and we need to do it. So let's do this. Here's a graph. All right. What axis is this called? This is called the y-axis, and this is called the x-axis. I believe I remember in school correctly. We got the y-axis and we got the x-axis. On the y-axis, we're going to call this value. Let's call it personal value. Excuse my handwriting. On this x-axis, we're going to call it opportunities. Opportunities. Yeah, some of that's opportunity. That's what it's saying. And that's kind of scribble chicken scrap. It's opportunity. They don't pay me to write well. All right. They pay me to teach you stuff. And that's what I'm doing. All right. So check it out. What you see here is as your value increases, so do the opportunities that you get. That's the theory. So as your personal value goes up here, the opportunities you attract go this way. So here's our quality opportunities here. Lower qualities here. But here's the thing. As your value increases, you're going to get more quantity and quality opportunities come to you. Let's make it plain English. You increase your skill set. You get really good at a skill. You become really valuable with this skill set. Now, when you apply for certain jobs, you have the ability to attract those jobs because you acquire a higher value skill set. For example, you worked at McDonald's. Now you pay somebody to learn how to do cybersecurity skills. Now you have these cybersecurity skills, which is a valuable skill set to have in 2026. Now that you have that skill set, your value has went this way. You acquire a new skill set. The opportunities you attract going to go this way. Higher quality opportunities. Now instead of working at McDonald's, you have the chance to get a cybersecurity job paying you 6 figures. Okay. Now, not to say that you still want to get McDonald's opportunities. If you still want to, do DoorDash or do Wendy's or, do whatever, you still will attract these too. However, though, as this increases. Another example. Let's say a man, right, works on himself. He get physically fit. He making good money. What happens to the quality of women he will attract? Let's make it plain, fellas. Money and women. What some of us believe is all life's all about. I believe it's way more than that. But however, the traditional man, hey, listen, make some money, get me a good girl, life is good, right? So how about this? A man works on his physical physique, he getting strong. I draw muscle. Like this. Muscle. Right? That's a muscle. That's my muscle. Not the best artist, but look, that's it. He getting stronger. He getting stronger. He's getting smarter. You know what I'm saying? He in his bag. He doing all that stuff. Emotional intelligence is high. EQ. Now he know how to talk to a woman and he can be vulnerable. He's spiritually connected. All that stuff is happening, right? Those things happen, and all of a sudden he get more attractive, make a little more money. What happens with we call it opportunity? What happens with the quality of women that this man will attract? All right, as his value is raising, he getting fit, he getting money, like all that stuff is happening. His value again is going this way. Whoop, he's going up. The quality of women he's going to attract. He's going to attract better opportunities, better quality of women that come into his life. Okay, like simple. Now he'll still attract, some lower quality women too. However, he'll have options. That's the key word I want to talk about here. Like, let's call it optionality. That's a good word, right? Optionality. This man now has options. Options equal freedom. Options equal the freedom of choice. Now I don't have to pick, only this. I have multiple opportunities. Let's say, for example, you're a speaker. You increase your skill set as a speaker. Now you attract paid gigs and unpaid gigs. But guess what? You have the option to choose. I have the freedom. If I want to do a free gig, I can do a free gig, but also attracting higher paid gigs too. Let's say you're a coach. You get better at your coaching skill. You help people get testimonials. Your value as a coach goes this way. It goes up. What does that mean? You're going to attract higher paying clients to come to you. However, you still can help So people who don't have the money to be serviced in programs and communities, but also you're gonna attract people making 6, 7 figures who gonna look at you like, boy, can you help me out? Like again, now I have options, and options equal what? What do options equal? Class out listening? Options equal freedom. Oh my God, how good it feels to have freedom. Let's get it. All right. All right. So we talked about opportunities, we talked about options, and when it comes to value, let's talk about value though. And let's break down like what value really is. And in my opinion, value equates to this. Here's an equation. Value equals competency. Call it compotent. I spelled that right. Competent.
Let's say yes.
Let's say yes. Again, they don't pay me to spell on, just pay me to teach. Competent plus character plus capacity. All right. So in my mind, that's how I equate value, right? So let's make this plain. I like making stuff plain. Competency means you can look at competence is skill set. How well that you're doing a thing. How competent are you at this skill? Let's take a barber, for example. Someone who cuts hair for a living. Now listen, you can go to a barber and he can cut hair. Like I can technically cut hair. I can get some clippers and I can cut all my hair off. Technically, I can cut hair, right? But how good am I at that skill of cutting hair? How can I line? How can I fade? How can I see the shape of your head and make it match your hairline receding? How can I make it bring it up and make it look sharper? All that comes with competency. Now, the character of this barber. Let's say character. Let's call character. Let's call that identity. Right, who you are as a person plus emotional, call it control. All right. Those two things play a key part in your character. You can't see it. Identity and emotional control are your character. I know you guys are squinting like, what does that say? You got to stay with me. Just listen. Listen and look at the same time. But anyway, so what type of person is this barber? If I go to this barber, does he like show up late? Is he like, always on the phone, arguing, yelling with his old lady? Like, what's happening here? Over what's happening in this situation? That turns his character. Is he like scamming people like at night? Like, I don't know what happens. I don't know if he gets mad and he doesn't show up to work because he's just mad right now. He's upset. He's mad about something. I don't know. Right. But that all goes into value of this barber. Stay with me now. Lastly, capacity. Capacity is like his energy to handle stuff. So if I go to a barber, he's very competent at his skill. I go to him and I get to see why he's a great person, great human being, is loving guy. And he has a huge capacity. His energy is high. He can take about 10, 12 heads a day. His schedule always open. To me, that barber is extremely valuable. His value goes up. On the flip side of it is, if he's not that competent at cutting my hair, like every time I go to him, my line shifting, I also go to him and he just a really bad guy. Like character wise, he just be abusing women, dogging women out. Like I don't want to even listen to when he's talking. And when he get to work, his energy low. He gonna do like 2-3 appointments a day. Like to me, that barber is extremely less valuable. All right, just an example. It's just my thoughts on value versus character overall. Listen, the overall message is this: we gotta find a way to increase our value. That's what it comes back to. How do we get this thing going up consistently? And that's what the theory is about. When it comes to value, there are going to be 6 things that constitute your value. Let's do a wheel here. Let's do a big circle. And we need a pie. Let's cut this pie into 6 slices. That's 4 slices, right? What's your last line? Go right here. Let's go to the middle. Like a bicycle wheel or a pie or a cake, whatever you want to call it, right? There's 6 pillars that define your value as a man. Like holistically. 6 pillars that define your value as a man. Now, I want to break these pillars down into 2 categories. We got internal, all right? And we have, all right, a little neater, external, a little slow so you can see it all right. Internal pillars, and we have external pillars. So the internal pillars are the things that people can't necessarily see, right? The more time they spend with you, they will notice that, oh man, this guy is really a great person, but they have to spend intense time with you. External pillars are things that people can see, like right out of the gate. Right? I can see if you're in shape. I can see if you get the money. I typically can see some of those things. Like that's external stuff. Now, both of these go hand in hand, though. All right, it's not one without the other. So let's break it. Let's jump into internal first, and then we'll switch to external. We got 3 internal pillars, and we got 3 external pillars. Okay, how we looking on time? Anybody know? Nobody know how we looking on time. I have the clock. Oh, we good. I got 30 minutes still. We're doing good. Let's do internal first. Internal. Call it internal. Internal pillars. Number 1, internal pillar. Emotional. We're not gonna go too deep on it today. All right, because this is a whole monster in itself. And as men, we were never taught to be that emotional. I know I was. I didn't grow up with a dad in the house, so didn't have any emotional conversations. My mama was always working and busy, and she's a woman and she is emotional, but teaching me how to express my emotions, labeling all that stuff, never happened. All right, it's just what it is. You caught a lot of men in the same boat. We're taught to be strong, don't cry, don't do nothing, and we only know what we know. All right, so listen, check it out. I want you to remember this: RULER. Ruler. Really quick. All right, really quick. When it comes to the R, when it comes to our emotions, recognizing, recognize. Yes, you got to understand. So with the first 2, you have to recognize in real time how you're feeling. You have to be self-aware on how you're feeling, and you have to understand why you feel the way that you feel. If you don't recognize when you're getting upset, you don't understand like what actually makes you tick, it's hard to regulate your emotions. It's hard to increase your EQ, called emotional intelligence, but EQ for short. Okay, let's go to the L. Label. Now, most men know about 3 emotional words. Their emotional vocabulary is very, very, very tiny. We know happy, we know mad, we know sad. And you ask the man, how you doing? I'm doing straight. And what does straight even mean? That's not emotion, that's a direction. That's not a feeling. It's a direction. Or they say, I'm good. What does good actually mean? Like your good and my good could be different. Right? Good is objective, depending on who you're talking to. All right. You can go outside and be raining and say it's a good day today. I can go outside and rain and say, man, it's a bad day today. Like, it ain't good to me. So good is one of those words where, but now mad, oh, I can feel mad. I know what man looks like. Sad, oh, I've been sad. I understand that. Happy, how you doing? I'm happy, bro. Okay, good. Why you happy? Quick, right? But I'm telling you now, there's way more emotional words to add to your vocabulary besides happy, mad, and sad. We got frustrated, we got embarrassed, we got depressed, it's a bunch of them, man. And here's the thing: you can't even begin to communicate on an emotional level with somebody, with your wife, with your kids, with your coworkers, if you can't even use the language. That's like you going to Spain, all they speak is Spanish. You don't know any Spanish words. You're going to struggle to communicate. This is why I believe a lot of our, marriage and divorce rate is so high, or a lot of people go to counseling and therapy because they can't do this. They can't recognize, understand, and label how they're feeling. And if you can't label how you're feeling, guess what you can't do? You can't do what? You can't express how you're feeling. I can't begin to express how I'm feeling if I don't even know what I'm feeling or how I'm feeling that way. I can't say, hey, I feel embarrassed. You embarrassed me here. And when you embarrass me, it makes me feel angry. All we know is we pin it up inside and eventually we just burst open. All right, with all this emotion, now we fighting and screaming and kicking and punching, all kind of stuff. Listen, R, last one, regulation. Okay, regulates. Recognize and understand and label, express it. After expressing, we gotta regulate that emotion. We gotta have some tactics in place to regulate when we get super mad. What should we do? Maybe we should go in the car and take 10 deep breaths in and out right after we get off work so we don't bring that energy home. Maybe that's a regulation tactic for some people. But if you again, it starts at the top to bottom. So remember ruler. Now, the reason this is important because I don't know you guys know, but we've all had, I think, maybe that drunk guy friend. And this drunk male friend, when we go out, he drinks a lot and, somebody looks at him wrong and all of a sudden he punched him in the face. It's a whole brawl now because he felt disrespected, didn't communicate it, didn't articulate it, couldn't label it, couldn't express it, nothing. And he just popped off and hit somebody, right? You lose trust with people if I can't take you into an environment because I don't know how you're going to react emotionally. Right? Or let's talk about the guy that's in the car with his girl. They dating or whatever. She get a text from a man, and who knows who the man is. But immediately when he see the name, he might just spaz out, start calling out her name, start cussing, start fussing. And maybe this guy was just a coworker, a friendly, cordial coworker, or maybe it was a cousin. He don't even care. He just spaz out. And now he loses the trust of that woman. Now she doesn't feel safe with him emotionally anymore because he be spazzing out all the time. So the point is this. More men lose opportunities because of emotional instability than from lack of intelligence. Okay? I'll say that again. More men lose opportunities from emotional instability than from lack of intelligence. Quick example. Immediately when I said that, I thought of one person. Now, no knock on my guy. Like my guy makes great music. The baby came to my mind. 4 or 5 years ago, he was on stage and the crowd was pumping him up and no telling what state he was in, but he said some stuff that he admitted he regrets saying. He was emotional in that moment, and he lost so many opportunities over the past 2, 3, 4, 5 years because of that one thing. If he doesn't say that thing, his career keeps flourishing. He's winning Grammys, he's going crazy. He's already going crazy before he said it. But he lost opportunities because of that emotional state and saying things they probably didn't necessarily mean to say, but he said it because that's how he felt. Right? Didn't understand how he was feeling, couldn't later, didn't express it properly, expressed it in the wrong state, the wrong place. And look what happened. He lost opportunities. So that's a prime example of it. All right. But yeah, shout out to the baby though. I think his music is great. Dope dude. Some people say look like me. I'm older, so I can say that. Right. Let's keep moving. Pillar number 1, emotional. Internal pillar number 2. What's number 2? Number 2. Mental. Gotta work on the emotional. We gotta work on the mental. Now, when it comes to mental, so I want you to remember for this current lesson and session, let's do T leads to F. F leads to A. A leads to R. All right. And I'm going to say that leads to Q, L. But we can stop at the first 4. Talk about the first 4. What does this mean? What does T stand for, guys? Live class doesn't know? Thoughts. Thoughts lead to F. What's F?
Feelings.
Feelings. Okay, thoughts lead to feelings. Feelings lead to what?
Action.
Actions. Okay. Actions lead to what? What's the R?
Result.
Results. There we go. Thoughts lead to feelings. Feelings lead to actions. Actions lead to the results you have in life. And QL leads to your quality of your life. Okay? So the thoughts that come into your mind cause you to feel a certain type of way. Based on how you feel, those are going to be the actions that you end up taking, which determine the results of your life, which determines the quality of your life. Let's give you a real life example of this thing. If all I watch is the news, and we all know that the news portrays a lot of negativity because viewers like negative stuff. That's what they do. All I watch is news all day. I'm going to feel a certain type of way about, whatever. All right. Government, the people around me. I'm just going to feel a certain type of way. If I feel this way, I'm going to take different actions. Or I may have thoughts of negativity that I will go somewhere, I might get killed or something, right? So that feeling caused me to be scared. And now I don't go out as much. I take less action. I just stay in the house by myself. What does that mean? I'm going to connect with less people. I see less opportunities, which ultimately I just turn to the person stay in the house all day, quality life wise. Stay in the house, scared all the time, negative thoughts, whatever, right? So, but here's the thing: when it comes to mental, all this stuff is a byproduct of the team, of the thoughts, right? Of what comes into our minds. So if I'm here, this is how we do this stuff. So we can't start here. Some people say, oh, my quality of life is terrible, or the results I'm getting is god awful, right? Like, okay, they start here and figure out what's going on with their life. You can't start here. You can't start at the end of the equation. You have to start at the beginning of the equation. In the beginning of the equation are your thoughts. So how do I shift my thoughts? One word, right? Big letters. Programming. We got a program, man. You have to program your thoughts. You have to control what comes into your mind. How do you do that? How do you do that, guys?
What you watch, what you hear.
What you watch and what you hear. That's also the only way information gets into your brain. By what you see and what you hear. So if you want to change up your thoughts, you have to program your mind. You can't plug into negativity all the time, right? And here's the thing, guys. We live in a generation where how do I want to say this? We live in a algorithm driven attention theft world. Okay, I'm gonna say that again. We live in an algorithm driven attention theft world. That's all it's designed to do is to steal away your attention. And what it wants to do is it wants to constantly remind you that you're not good enough. It's going to constantly remind you of the person that you could be. It's going to show you people living the lifestyle that you should be living. That's how you feel, right? For example, sometimes on my feed, all I see is these big ripped up men working out. They shredded. I mean, pecs, abs. That's all they show me. I'm like, bro, like I want that body. I want to have that body. I want to have that life. Like, why they got so much discipline, man? Like, dang. Or if you like cooking, but you ain't really that good at cooking, you like eating more than cooking, they're gonna show you a lot of good food that you can't make. I mean, that you think you can make, like, oh, that look good. I wish I could make that. Like, oh, that look good. They foodies, right? This food look good. I want to be able to do my ribs like that. Or that Cinnabon look good. Like, I wish I could plate my food like that. Like, that's all you think about all the time. Or, a more prevalent one, you on your phone scrolling and all you see is, beautiful women in their bikinis. That's all they show you. That's all they show you. You look at your old lady and that ain't how your old lady look. But you constantly mind like, boy, that's life I can have. That's a girl I should have. Or she by her business, she doing this and that and the other. My girl ain't doing none of that stuff. It constantly reminds you of what you aren't and what you don't have or what you could be. Constantly. So person with a, low mental pillar, all they do, a weak mind, I call it, they just scroll. They react to what life is happening. People who have strong-minded people, they do something different. Strong-minded people intentionally seek out what they see. So they intentionally decide to go read a book on positivity. Or that's why I personally prefer YouTube over most other platforms because there's not much scrolling on YouTube. Typically, you go to YouTube and you search for exactly what you want, and it shows you exactly that. That's why I prefer YouTube because again, I intentionally sought out what I want to see. You ain't just showing me what you think like I need to be or where I want to see. I'm intentionally seeking out what I need, what I want. All right, so that's the difference between a strong-minded person and a weak-minded person. Does that make sense, class?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's move on. They're making good time. Turn on pillar number 3. What's number 3? Spiritual. All right, now. I said it last, but it's definitely not least. And we ain't going to preach on it. We're just going to talk about it briefly. The spiritual pillar. Listen, this is where purpose comes from, like your purpose in life. Like some of you guys don't know your purpose in life yet because you're not spiritually grounded or anchored. Your identity comes from this, right? Who you believe that you are and what you believe that you can do. Your moral framework, right? What principles do you stand on? In your mind, what's right or wrong? Right? That's shaped by your spiritual identity. What's the other one? Let's do conviction. Like when you speak, do you speak with some conviction because you know that, like you know what you know and you believe what you believe, so you speak with a lot of conviction because of that belief that you have. And what the spiritual pillar does is it's the one that when life gets crazy and your whole world like is crashing down, being strong in this pillar keeps you at peace. That's the big one. No matter what's going on, I'm at peace. And I have faith that no matter what happens, I can still get to where I want to go. No matter what situation that I'm in. Peace and faith. No matter what's happening, I'm at peace. And I always believe and have the faith that no matter what's in my way, I can get to where I want to be. That's the spiritual pillar. All right, strong anchor. We'll keep it grounded. We ain't going too deep. But just know that this pillar is what I call, I don't know how to draw it. I wish I could draw better. What is that? That's an anchor. Drop the anchor from the boat. Here's the boat. Let's do a boat. How you do a boat? Um. It drops the anchor down and watch it move. Right? So that's the anchor. This is the anchor pillar. You got to get this one strong because this makes sure no matter what happens, life is good. All right? All right, cool. So, recap. What are the three internal pillars? Oh, put it in the comments. Spiritual, mental, emotional. You can just say EMS. Like without E, you're going to need an ambulance. You're going to end up in the hospital. Emotional, mental, spiritual. EMS. All right? This will keep you alive. All right? Let's scrub it. Now listen, we're about to transition to the external pillars because it's important to know before we leave internal and go to external is internal strength without external development creates invisible potential. Yes, it's that stuff makes you really strong inside and you can go and do and be anything. Internally, you'll feel that way. Potential, you have the potential. But we live in a world with other people and they want to see it. So you got to go out there and do stuff so they can see it, so they can realize, okay, you might be, you got to do something to attract people to you because we're all humans living in a real world. Being internally strong, again, that's potential. Potential energy and kinetic energy are different. We'll talk about that later, though. Okay. Long story short, you got to get both. It's not a or, it's a and. I got to have internal and I got to have external. I got to have internal strength and I got to have external development. They go hand in hand. Let's talk about external. We got three externals that we got to run through really quick. External, number one. What do you think it is? Physical. We got the physical. We got the, think about physical. We think about what in physical pillar? We think about energy, right? What else? Fitness. Got to be fit. I think about hygiene, right? Got to look, smell good, brush your teeth, all that stuff. Yep. Grooming yourself. There's a bunch. Grooming. It's a bunch for physical. Like all this physical stuff, how you walk into a room. When I think of physical, I think of this. My two biggest things, I think of energy, and I think of another word. I think of confidence. Energy and confidence. If you walk into any room and you got high energy and you feel confident because you fit, you smell good, you dressing well, and your energy on 10, like these three lead to this, but then you got this over here, the energy part. I've learned that high energy typically leads to higher income because you can outlast and outwork most people. That's how it goes. Like people say, look good. They're naturally attracted to you because of that, the confidence part. They come into you. And typically, people flow to the most confident person in the room. If you're on a sales call, same thing. Typically, the most confident person on that sales call makes the sale. If the prospect is more confident in you, they ain't buying from you. If you're more confident in them that you can help them solve that problem, they'll buy from you. It's all about their confidence. And the energy you possess, that's a whole other thing, right? Now, what I like to look at is this. Energy determines your output. Output determines your production. And production determines your value. Energy, EO, energy leads to output. O, let's call it O, output. O-U-T, output. All right. Output leads to what? Production. All right. Production leads to value. For example, there's something called pre-workout you can take when you hit the gym. You take that pre-workout juice or powder, it gives you a bunch of energy before you hit the gym. You go in that gym and you're going to put some output. You're going to do more reps. You're going to do more sets. You're doing burpees. You're on the treadmill. You're doing strength. You're doing everything. Output is up, which means since you're doing more reps, more sets, better production. That's what's coming out. All right. You're going to produce better results, right? So you're going to have you can get the shoulders you want, the pecs you want, the abs you want in a short amount of time. But you're going to that gym pump every day. You're going to feel it, which means your value is going to increase because of fitness is getting better. All right, you're going to look better. You'll be more confident. All right, so energy leads to output, output to production, production to value. So sleeping, this is part of energy too. Getting quality sleep. We got to talk about that, right? So much that leads to your energy. But you're focusing on this is going to be key. What you're eating, how you're sleeping, all that stuff determines how you show up on an everyday basis. All right, we got to keep it moving. Time check. Number 2. What's second one? Physical. You know what the second one is? Social. Social, man. Like social is one of those things. Your network, what they say? This is easy. Your network equals your what? Net worth. All right. Network equals your net worth. Your network essentially multiplies your value. Okay. So if I have a great skill, let's do sales. I have a great skill of selling, and you have a great skill of selling. But I know 5 people who own sales agencies. So they find businesses who need salespeople, and they can just put me with the best one because, we cool. I know them. They know me. I'm good at sales. So they connect me instantly. You are great at sales, but you know nobody. No agency. You're just great at sales. Who's going to make more money consistently? Right? The person who has the network of people. So that increases having a network multiplies your value. Network. Yeah. Well, these are net worth, right? So either way, it's the same. They're equal. They're the same. So yeah, your network multiplies your value. That's what I need you to know. Like network, I put next work. That ain't it. Let's X that out. Network. I don't like it right there either. Over here, network multiplies value. All right. Remember that. Network multiplies your value. Get in the right rooms. Getting in the right rooms is important. But again, we'll dive into that much later. This is the high level overview. I got a couple more minutes. Last pillar. We talked about everything there. What's the last pillar that increases your value? If you get better here, people know it. Money. Financial. The financial pillar. All right. This is not just about making it. It's all about income. You got to make the money. You got to invest the money in some assets as well, too. You got to be a good steward of what you have and not blow it all because it's not about how much you make. I've learned this firsthand. It's not about how much you make. It's not about how much you can save so you can invest it. Because as you invest money, you buy freedom. Investing buys freedom. If you can invest more money, you can get your time back. If you can invest in your business, if you can invest in somebody else's business, if you can invest in multiple businesses, you get your time back and your freedom back to do whatever you want to do in your life. Purpose-driven stuff. So that's why the financial pillar is king. But having the skill set to increase your value to earn more money, because the market rewards those who have higher value, who offer value to the world. So if you're making more money than most people, because you're probably offering more value to the world than somebody else is offering. That's plain as it gets. But as you make the money, we gotta be good stewards of the money, and we gotta keep the money in our pockets. All right, and being financial discipline, there's a lot of stuff, man. For a woman, if you consistently making good money, man, she's gonna feel more stable and secure in the finances. She ain't worried about the lights getting cut off. All right, like that makes you more attractive to business partners. I got an idea. I got 100K. I need 200K to get to buy this business. I only got 100K. I have to go to someone who has extra 100K. I'm not a bunch of person who is broke, no money. So you miss out on an opportunity because you ain't got the money. Simple as that. Or you lose the girl because you ain't got the money. Like she don't feel safe with you. Like I got kids to raise. I can't just be depending on you and you ain't got the money. So we gotta focus. We don't want to focus on this pill only. But here's the thing. It's still important. I know I got like literally 1 minute left. Let's sum it up in 1 minute. 1 minute summation. We got 6 pillars, right? We got E, we got M, we got S, we got physical, social, financial. I put physical with a P. Ain't that stupid? Physical is P. That ain't stupid. That's good. Listen, so let's do it like lines. Boom. This is my meter. All right, this is my meter. Like each one of these represents how much my value each one of these pillars. All right. So let's say I increase 50% only in one pillar. Let's say I got super spiritual. Oh, but everything else is left behind. That's the person that you see that's super spiritual. No knock on nobody, but they buy it as a mix. Right? They buy it, look all overweight, look sloppy. All that stuff is happening. They're a broke, fat preacher. No knock on broke, fat preachers, right? That's just what it symbols to me, right? Overall. Or let's say, I'm really dope. I'm really smart. Mental wise, I'm mentally tough. Nothing to break me. I'm mentally tough. You know what I'm saying? And let's say I got a little emotional in me too. But let's say I'm super smart, but I'm still broke. Like I'm smart, I'm mentally tough, but I can make no money consistently. And I ain't got no friends for real. Right? And I'm fat. All right, that's a perfect not trifecta. All right, listen though. If we did this, if we increased 10% in every pillar, what happens is we compound the results. All right. Now you're getting better emotionally slightly, mental slightly, spiritual, physical, social, and financial. All in small doses. And this compounds something called compounding interest. We'll talk about when it comes to finances, but this compounds and then results multiply. Because not only am I getting better emotionally, I'm making more friends. As I'm making more friends, I'm getting better opportunity, more money. And then, right, I am spiritually grounded. So something happens like crazy one week, I don't lose my mind and just blow everything else up that I've been doing. Emotions are strong. So me and my wife having great conversations, kids having great conversations. I ain't blowing stuff up. And we get better gradually over time. So that's the importance, all right, of this whole high value man university, HVMU as we call it. But this is the theory of the high value man. I want you to remember this. The world is not the reward man for trying, the reward man for becoming. Questions? What we got?
So how can somebody, if they're interested in like learning more about this, because this was amazing, how can they like get access to you? How can they talk to you more? How can they like dive deeper into this?
Everything's in the bio. You can join High Value Man University. We do coaching every single day. Or just join the blog. Every single day you get a blog helping you with certain ways and habits and tricks and tactics to level up, become a value-based man. But watch the YouTube channel. Keep watching the channel. We're going to dive through this experiment over the next 3 to 6 months. We're going to have some fun.